Hey, Peter, before I ask you how your run was today, who's sponsoring our show?
Brian, we're sponsored by Greenline Realty, a full-service brokerage company servicing students and professionals in the Boston area for over 26 years. Boston and 26. What does that make you think of?
I don't know. After the Wellesley Scream Tunnel, I pretty much blacked out during my Boston Marathon.
That's okay. I have some photos to show you. Greenline Realty offers professional real estate services in residential sales, rentals, and property management. Their central Cleveland Circle location will help clients buy, sell, rent, and manage their property in the many neighborhoods of Boston, Cambridge, Brookline, and Newton. From repairs to rent collection, they take care of every detail, Brian, and no job is too big or too small. So call Greenline Realty today at 617-731-5434. Again, 617-731-5434, or visit them at greenlinerealty.net. For more information about their property management services, run to Greenline Realty to work with an experienced agent today.
Hey, you said run to Greenline Realty. That's pretty cool.
Hey, that's like our show. Let's go do that now.
Let's do it. Hey, Peter, last week you verbaled to Caleb Danilov. Can you explain what the heck that means?
Yeah, I made a commitment. A verbal commitment is what it means to Mr. Caleb Danilov, our guest from last week, all about me attending the Summit Ave gathering of the November Project in Brookline.
This is November Project Speak, verbaling.
I verbaled to him on the way out after our interview, so it was off mic, but he held me to it. So... And you can't not go. Once you say you're going to go, they will absolutely call you out as a group and then destroy you.
Public shaming?
Totally.
In a good way.
Yeah, sure. It's a motivator. And it motivated.
What day did you do? What day of the week? What activity day is Summit Hill Ave? Summit Ave, right?
That's a Friday. It's interesting that you said the word hill. It's not Summit Hill Ave. The hill's implied, Brian.
the hill's obvious when you get there?
Oh, my gosh. If anyone has ever been to Brookline in any part, you can see it. If you're in Coolidge Corner, it's right behind you. It's that big giant thing behind you.
It's the summit looming over you.
Yeah, it's a 17% grade hill, and I would imagine if you're in San Francisco, you're like, yeah, well, look at that. That's nothing. But here,
my driveway is 17%.
Yeah, but here, it's kind of a big deal. So I guess for many a time now, they've been meeting there on Friday mornings at about 6:15, 6:30, and they do different exercises. So I went out.
Okay, explain this. You're about a mile away, right? Your house is about a mile.
Yeah, a little over. I ran over.
You ran over at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I did. I got up early.
The activity begins what time?
People start gathering around 6:15. I mean, some people get there earlier depending on their schedules, but I would say the en masse of like 100 people show up about 6:15, 6:20, and then it formally starts at about 6:30 with a group warm-up and a big bounce, and it's I highly encourage people who are even slightly interested, go to it. Just experience it.
And there's November Projects in many, many cities across the country and
now.
even internationally.
Yes.
But this is the particular Boston one.
That's right. And I believe they will be featured on Good Morning America.
I believe that's true.
The day we air this, absolutely, I think is June 8th.
Whoa.
So it's already happened. You've missed it. I hope you recorded it.
You can watch it on the internet.
But that's going to be big for them. It's an amazingly well-run organization. People were very positive, very friendly. Caleb was nice enough to invite me, and I went on out. And okay, so
what happened, Peter?
Yeah, so that's
what was your experience there?
Okay, let's be clear. I've lived in Brookline 16 odd years.
Okay.
I've never even walked that hill before.
Yeah.
I live a mile away from it. I just look at it. Thanks anyway.
Right.
So I got there. I walked up the hill because, of course, they were meeting at the top of it. And I did a little jog at the very end just to see what it felt like. I saw some cyclists go by me, huffing and puffing.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, this is going to be
Well,
interesting.
they're dragging their bicycles up underneath them.
I'm sure we're going to do the workout at the top of the hill, and that's all we're going to do.
Right. You're going to do some jumping jacks, maybe a few push-ups, and then you're going to jog down the hill and go get a cup of coffee.
Capture the flag and bear claw.
Right. Bear claws. Yeah.
Nope. So that was... There's a backside to the hill that's not as steep, but it's still decent. And basically, it started from the top. You went down. You came back up the so-called easier side. At that point, there's a moderator who now sets you up holding a whip.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, holding a whip. The guy was holding a whip because it's an Indiana Jones thing. It's a theme.
You mean literally there's a man with a bullwhip standing at the top of the hill encouraging you to go.
I mean, it wasn't a giant whip.
Hey,
but it was
at 6:30 in the morning, any whip is pretty giant.
All whips are intense. Really? So as you come back up from this first down and back up, you've sort of self-paced your group.
Right.
So he's now calling out people. As 7 people come by, they're like, that's your group.
Okay.
Because that's important, because now you're going to go down the hard side, which is very steep, as a group, getting to know each other. So quickly you're exchanging names and all that stuff. And this is important because now when you get to the bottom of that, which happens to be on Beacon Street, you're going to turn around, you're going to line up, and you're going to do sprints lined up, meaning the person in the back has to run to the front and set the pace.
Oh boy, this reminds me of high school football practice.
Very much. And for me, high school cross country, this is what we
hear
did.
that whistle, and you got to sprint up to the front and set the pace.
Now let me just set the.
I never did them up a hill.
Now this was a particularly warm day. It was a good humidity level.
Right.
And the sun had just really started to peek up over buildings and things, and it was easily 85 degrees.
Hello, Florida.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great state. I roll my ankle on the first full
ascent.
No, on the well, it's truly the second descent, but the first descent of the hard side where we're learning each other's names. And I must have been looking around and not seeing that there was a tree, root, and whatever. And I rolled my ankle, and it was honestly the most pain I've had physically while running this 2 years or so that I've been doing it.
But Did you think about stopping at this point?
No, I said out loud, it's okay, everybody. It's before 7 a.m. It doesn't count. And it was a game I played with myself. Like, no, an injury before 7 a.m. is not real. No, that's fine. That's fine. No,
because why would I be out exercising?
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm in bed still. This is a dream. I'm not really here. So we line up at the bottom to go up, and we do the sprints. And it must have been because it's 7 people and you're in the back, and then you sprint to the forward, and then the next person goes, and the next person goes. It was probably 4 or 5 of those sprints to reach the top.
Oh, my.
And that was for real. And the sweat level was intense. And then you pass the guy with the whip, and he sort of checks you off as you go through.
I can imagine.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And then you go down as a group.
Yeah.
And you're not sprinting now because you're on a descent.
Yeah, and you can't breathe.
It's a challenge.
How many?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
then you go back up the easy side.
Right.
But now you sprint in a line. And again, it takes 4 or 5 to get back up to there. And you're feeling it now because now you've done a full set. And my ankle is starting to swell slightly, but it's fine.
It's fine. It's still early.
I grabbed some quick water at the fountain because, of course, I've totally miscalculated like a rookie newbie that I was. I didn't bring any water with me because I thought they'd have it. And, of course, there is a fountain there.
Well,
but I had to say to the group, I'm going to run to the fountain and I'll catch up to you on the descent, which I did. But I had to sort of hustle and get back in the line.
Right.
We go down the tough side, the hard side. At Beacon Street, we turn again, we line up, and we plow it. We just sprint and do the thing. We get to the top, and I absolutely say, because they're going to go at least one more full, and I say to the group, this has been great. Thanks for having me.
I need to go have brunch now.
And then I put my face in the fountain.
Yeah.
And I met a nice guy who was there, and I chatted him up a little bit, and then it was a good 5 minutes of rest and drinking water and questioning everything about my life. And then Caleb came back up from the easy side.
Yeah.
And I ran up to him and said, hey, I got to get going. There's an event at my son's school. It's getting late. This has been amazing.
Or whatever other excuse you could come up with.
Yes. I have to go perform surgery right now. I'm needed. And
Stat.
And so I actually ran with him down the hard side as he was finishing up his last full. And he said, you're going to miss the group picture, because apparently at the end of it, they always do a group picture.
Right.
And I said, I know I do, but my son's concert, Memorial Day concert, I got to go. Bye-bye. We hugged it out. It was great. And
And really what you needed to do was go set your fractured ankle.
I had to splint it.
Before
I had to take a pine tree branch and just give myself a splint. No, and then I ran home the mile or so. And I think actually running home the mile in relatively flat roads was very good. And then I got through the workday okay. It started to balloon up, the ankle, toward the end of the day. Saturday I woke up.
And you were still in the midst of your May run every day insanity.
That's correct. I had another.
Despite your ankle injury, you couldn't stop.
Yeah, I ended up. So that ended up being a 5-mile run in total with all that hill workout. So then the next day, I did a mistaken later in the morning run again in heat. I should have gone earlier. Did a 4. That Sunday I did a 3. No, Sunday I was really hurting. I only did like a 2.5.
Yeah, well, you kept the streak alive.
And then then I wrapped it up Monday, Tuesday.
Peter, what was the overall vibe of the November Project workout on Summit Ave?
It's nothing but acceptance and love.
Mm-hmm.
They want nothing from you. They just want you to show up. And that's really the answer.
That's awesome.
Just show up. And it is something I will attempt again. I
was going to ask, are you going to work this in? I've always said I need to put more hill workouts into my routine. So are you going to do the same?
To give you perspective, the guy that I was talking with at the fountain drives from Worcester, which is about an hour and a half to 2 hours away, to come to this thing.
What?
And I live down the street.
Wait, what?
Yeah. No, there are people who come from all parts of the state.
He leaves at like 4:30 in the morning?
He comes in
to run for 30
early.
minutes?
It's more like 45 minutes, but yeah.
Oh.
And people do that because this thing is so
I'm a
motivating.
Sloth.
We're lucky. We live nearby, and I live extremely close to that one.
Yes, you do.
I don't live so close to the Harvard Stadium one, but I actually
Are
live
you
kinda close to
verbling
that.
right now about going again?
No.
You've learned your lesson.
I'm very glad I went. I don't think it's for everybody, but I could see the rationale for why it's so important, especially when the weather turns bad. It gets you to go. And I think some people need that. Now, the biggest reason why I like to run is because I like to do it by myself. And I like my time.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see for some people where you could fall off and not quite stay with it. This will help you stay with it for sure. Now, originally when we were going to do this little catch up on how I did on Friday, it was going to be just my show, and you weren't going to be here because you have nothing to say. But now you actually have something to say. What do you want to share, Brian? I'm giving you the talking stick.
Oh, thank you. This morning, Peter, I woke up at 5 a.m. and took the dogs for a walk, and then pulled on my shorts, got in my car, drove into Harvard Stadium, about a mile outside of Harvard Stadium, and did the Wednesday November Project stadium climbs.
This is a Harvard Coliseum.
Harvard Coliseum. It's a horseshoe. It's
famous.
Made out of cement. Very similar experience. It's really almost overwhelming how many people are doing this because there's a 5:30 group that shows up. And
that was what Caleb was talking about last week.
Yeah, and I saw him there. I saw Caleb there, and we hugged it out. And it was really great to see him. And in fact, he encouraged me right as I was going. They separated the newbies. There were about 20 or 30 people we were all there for the first time. So we got a little special speech and encouragement and sort of a primer on what November Project is all about. And then after a bunch of people everybody else had already started, which was 100 people or more, had already started off on their stadium climbs. Again, this is running up the actual steps. So it's a pretty good size step. I'd say it's 18 inches or 24 inches or something like that.
Yikes.
Yeah, and you're going all the way up to the top, and then you walk over, and then you go down the little tiny stairs down, and then you just shuffle over to the next section, and you go section by section. You start at section 37 and move around. And so anyway, I got down to the bottom with my group of newbies, and they said, all right, go. And I heard Caleb say, go, Brian. And I really needed it because even in the first set of stadiums, the first section, boy, it was hard. And it was a gorgeous day. This is what I wanted to say, which was I may have picked the only perfect day to do this because at 5 o'clock the sun was already up. It was 60 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. I drove in, took no time at all. I got there. It's gorgeous now. The way Harvard Stadium is set up, the way it's oriented, is that at 6:30 in the morning, half of it's in sun, half of it's in shade.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, section 37 to about section 15 is in full sun.
Hot sun.
So it's 65 degrees and you're running up and down concrete steps. Even at 6:30 in the morning, that got pretty warm pretty fast.
Yeah, that's tough.
And I ran up, I would say, one section completely.
Nice.
And then the ensuing sections, I would run up fewer and fewer. I'd make it about 2/3 the way up, and then you kind of walk up to the top. And I wasn't the only one doing this.
Do you have
I mean,
people behind you? Or in
well,
front of you?
the sections are pretty wide. I mean, it's an entire section of a stadium. So,
So there's plenty of room.
There's plenty of room. The only time when it gets a little traffic jammy is going down the steps
small
of each
steps.
section.
Yeah.
But, you know, people stay to one side and you go around. It's all very coordinated, and people are really nice. There's no, grunting or shoving or grumbling. Everyone's like, hey, good morning, coming up on your left or coming up on your right,
Yep,
whatever.
It's not competitive. It's nothing
It's
like
not
that.
competitive
Right,
at all
right.
because it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's like marathon running, in which everybody is doing their best, and all you can do is encourage everybody to do as much as they can possibly do.
Right.
So today was some sort of crazy special day where you do something called the Frogman 1, whatever that stands for, and you do 50 sections. You run from section 37 to section 13, do that a couple of times, and come back and do that all in about 45 minutes or whatever it is. Not quite an hour.
What did you do?
All right. The leader, Emily, who is an absolute fireball of energy,
Yes,
as you might imagine,
I can.
suggested to all of us newbies to do get to section, what was it, 19? Newbie 19, I think it was.
From where?
From 37.
Working backwards.
Work it backwards.
Gotcha.
And I got to 19 and I said, you know what? Now, I used to do stadiums on my own, like
That
a
one
complete
or a different
loser.
one? That
No,
stadium?
Harvard Stadium.
Okay.
I mean, I've worked within a mile of Harvard Stadium for the last 20 years.
Nobody cares about your resume, Brian.
I never have put that on my resume. But at lunch, I used to go
That's
out
the kind of
and
thing
do
you
stadiums.
should put on a resume.
It was a long time ago. Anyway, so I used to do them. So I was, I knew the drill.
Yeah.
But it's been a while.
Okay.
And it is just, have you ever been on that stair machine in the gym?
Sure. The one with the real escalator stairs
The
coming
real,
at you?
yeah, Stairmaster, I think
Yeah.
it's called. Okay, harder than anything that can throw at you, because you're out in the sun and it's steep. They're tall,
They're much taller stairs than what we're used to.
and you're not stopping because you're encouraged by everybody else going. It was really hard. So I got to section 19, newbie 19, and I could see that the shade started at about section 17. I said, I got to make it to the shade. And then I made it to section 13, which was half of the fifth. So I guess I did 25 sections, I guess.
Wow.
So I got to half of what people were doing if they were doing the full thing. So it was hard, I will tell you. But, boy, it was so exciting. I mean, I came out of there just kind of dazed. Like, what did I just do with all of these people?
That's great.
And I walked back to where I had parked. And then came back and I showered at the gym.
Yeah.
And I went into the gym and I'm sort of like, why are these people in here? They should be doing what I just did. That was really awesome.
Well, that's really interesting. Yeah.
But I will tell you this again about the great weather. I speak about November Project. I'm not sure that in November, when the sun does not come up at 6:30, it's pretty dark.
It's pretty dark.
And it's cold, and I'm not going to have the sun waking me up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, I don't know how you get there.
So I would get up
yeah.
and drive in and
In
do
total
it
darkness.
in total darkness, and
Yeah.
the whole thing would be in darkness, and it would still be encouraging, but oof.
I think that's where you really would need it.
That's when you need it.
Yeah.
But again, it's a lot of extra effort.
Right. You picked.
And we'll also see what the rest of today holds. Will this surge of energy that I have flowing through my body,
This euphoria cloud
this
that you're in.
euphoria cloud, this November Project euphoria keep on, or am I going to crash hard by mid-afternoon and, maybe take a nap for the next 72 hours?
Yeah, I think you're done. I think
Yeah.
that was it. I think you're out.
Brian out.
I can tell you just went very pale. Drink some water. Drink some more water. Eat some more salt and brown bread or black bread. What was the bread he ate in Moscow?
Oh, Caleb and his Moscow Marathon. All I heard was handfuls of salt and black tea. That was a great interview.
Hot tea,
yeah.
Well, Brian, I'm so glad you survived your first experience with the November Project. Hey, did you get your shirt tagged or no?
Yeah, they weren't doing any tagging, but you know what? I think I will be back. It was pretty great.
You didn't roll your ankle to the size of a grapefruit?
I didn't, and not as far as I know. Anyway, it was early.
And that was that's the other thing we should mention, that if you go, and even if you go the first time and you're not feeling it for any reason physically, there is an injury deck, so you can go and be a part of it. And people who go often, and if they are trying to recover from an injury, they go anyway just to be part of it,
just to encourage
and to support other people. And I thought that was a lovely thing. So well done. So, Brian, it's already June.
It's June.
Do you know what's happening at the end of this month, my friend?
I do indeed.
What is it?
You and I are both running the BAA, Boston Athletic Association, 10K race.
It's going to be my first 10K ever.
Well, mine too. It's sort of an odd distance, 6 miles or so. I love running 6 miles, though. I have a question. You've already completed your 5K for the circuit that we're doing.
I have.
I'll be running my 5K the day before our 10K. What kind of moron am I?
Yeah, you're smart.
So on Saturday, I'm running the DeCordova 5K trail run. So it's not a road race. It's a trail run.
It's going to be wonderful.
It'll be fantastic. And then the next day, I will meet up with you early on Sunday morning, and we'll do our 10K.
Okay, then.
I would like to say one little thing, is that I'm actually fundraising for the 10K for Brigham and Women's Hospital here in Massachusetts.
Terrific.
It's a great organization, and if anybody's interested in contributing to that campaign, I'll put a link to it on the website and the socials.
I feel bad.
Appreciate it.
Am I supposed to be raising money? Because I'm not.
No, Peter, you just paid and you're running.
All right, and maybe I'll give you something.
That would be great.
No, I like them very much, and
Yes.
I live very close to that hospital.
You sure do.
And
Boston has so many fantastic medical facilities.
they're all good.
So when you roll your ankle, you have your options. Yeah.
Remember rice. You have to rest,
Yes.
ice,
Yes.
compress,
Yes.
elevate.
Now, by rest, does it mean run every day in the month of May?
I guess that did for me.
Not a good way to recuperate. Hey, Peter, I want to recognize everybody that has been calling out on social media, especially on your Saturday morning Facebook shout-outs for people who are running and racing. You sort of say, hey, here's the weather in Boston. And so many people are running races and just saying, this was the weather, this is what I did out here, all across the country. It's pretty fantastic.
It is amazing. Everybody is great. I am always intrigued as to how people's runs were and what kind of run they did, whether it's a race or not. And I really like to know the weather. I like to know. Oh, in
Are
Hawaii,
you a weather junkie?
I didn't think I was, but I think I might be a secret weather nerd. I love it.
Well, good for you.
So we'll do that every Saturday. I try to wake up early enough that everybody across the country and the globe, the world, Brian,
Our planet.
because this podcast emanates from Boston, but it goes around the world through the interwebs.
It does.
So I will keep doing that every Saturday, and we'll see what people report in. If you've been quiet, but you've wanted to write in, please write in. Let us know. How was your run today?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Are? I'm like the Willard Scott of running. That's an amazing image. I've jumped from Charles Kuralt to Willard Scott.
That's not a very far jump.
No, it's not. Not at
They're
all.
almost the same person.
They kind of. When I was a kid, maybe I thought they were.
You're not the Gene Shalit of running, I'll say that.
No, thankfully.
Can I get deeper on references that absolutely no one knows who these people are?
Yeah, you can try.
Okay.
It's cool because I thought Willard Scott and Charles Kuralt were all Captain Kangaroo. Speaking of the 10K that's coming up,
Yes, Peter?
I am going to do a crazy thing in June. Not run every day, thank you very much. I'm not going to take my rest days. But I am going to try to shed some poundage. Because as you know, Brian,
Yes.
I tend to be on the heavier side.
Who do you run with? Light Army.
Would you spend all day doing that?
I don't know.
Thank you.
It's pretty good.
It's about time.
Clyde Army.
So I'm going to try to trim up over the next couple of weeks before the big race because I'd like to hit or toe the line.
Yeah.
I'd like to toe the line.
Yeah.
A good 5 or 6 less than I am now.
That's impressive because we're talking about, what, 3 weeks or 4 weeks?
It's almost a full 4.
Wow. That's a pound a week or more?
Pound and a quarter, pound and a smidge.
Well, I know you haven't mentioned it, Peter, but thank you. I have lost a pound a month since the beginning of the year. So
is that true?
It is true, actually. So what are we in June? I've lost about 6.5, 7 pounds.
You don't need it.
I do need it.
Look at me.
My knees and my hips thank me every time I go out, and I'm just a little bit lighter.
Did you see the picture of me?
And I'll also tell you this.
Yeah.
Now is the time to do it because, as we both know, marathon training is not a weight loss plan. In fact, you may even gain weight because you eat like a crazy person. And during the taper, that weight that you lost during all that running comes right back.
On back.
And so say you lost 10 pounds. You lost a lot more than that. But say you lose 10 pounds, probably 5 or 6 of it comes back during the taper. So I'm trying to get way below now because I know it's going to come back during my marathon training at the end of the year.
Well, I'm going to say this about that. I also want to take the weight training in the gym more seriously for the New York Marathon than I did for last year's Boston. So I could see that being another place where weight shifts.
Peter, can I make a confession to you?
But the pounds don't necessarily come off. Oh, what?
The weather is so beautiful outside.
No, we have to get some weight training in.
And having done one November Project workout outside with all those wonderful people yelling encouragement.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can ever go to the gym again.
So you're going to totally train Rocky IV style. Outdoors.
I'll be chasing chickens.
Trees on your back.
Trees on my back. I might be dragging cars with my teeth.
Well, here's the thing. I start my training mid-July.
Yes, you do.
But you don't start your training till first week of August?
End of August, actually.
End of August?
Yeah.
Are you doing a 16-weeker? Or
yeah.
Okay. Wait, when's Millinocket? Oh, right. I'm a full month ahead of you.
Indeed.
Oh, man. I don't like that.
Why?
Because I have to suffer by myself.
No, we'll be running together. Remember, those first weeks are very short miles. We'll be able to do it.
Well, anyway, I'm going to get back with you next show. I'm going to let you know how the weight decrease in anticipation of the 10K is going.
I want to show up at the BAA 10K and not recognize you. How's that? Is that a good plan?
Am I supposed to change how I look facially?
No.
Should I shave the head?
No, you're going to lose so much weight. I'm going to look around and be like, where's Peter? And you'll say, why, Brian, I'm right here.
I was just turned sideways and you couldn't see me. I don't think that's true at all. Are we wearing...
Oh, we're absolutely wearing our HWYRT shirts. And if anybody else happens to be running the BAA 10K or the DeCordova 5K the day before, come on out on your shirts. Let's represent. It'll be fun.
Now, if people don't have shirts and they want to buy them, what do?
Go to the website.
HWYRT.com.
Or howwasyourruntoday.com.
Both work.
Both bring you to the same place. And there's a link that says something to the effect of email and T-shirt orders. Now, Peter, I'm going to promise you something.
I love it when you put it on air. Go.
Sometime in the next, I don't know, I'm going to say 6 months.
Don't overpromise.
6 years. We will have a legitimate online store that isn't this cockamamie thing where you send us an email and you leave money behind a rock and then we send you a shirt. We'll actually set it up. And it's coming, folks, with more products. But
that's the big thing. My mom has said, for example, I want a shirt. I don't want a running shirt, but I'd like a T-shirt.
Yeah, sure. A T-shirt. Share the love. I'm not sure we're going to have Sydney's HWYRT booger bags.
Debris bag is what I'd rather say. And she'd prefer you say it as debris bag.
I like booger bag.
She reached out to me over the weekend, and she's going to want to have a talk with you directly. So I don't know if we're going to Skype her or what. But let's look forward to that in a future show.
Oh, boy.
What about hats?
You know, I avoid confrontation, Peter. I may not show up that day.
I would love it if you weren't here.
She shows up on Skype and just
It's
talks
just
to a
an-
blank
and
screen.
just an empty chair next to Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
Oh, come on. That's a good reference I just gave you.
Oof, that was a while back.
All right, Google that. Hey, so what about hats? Can I get a running hat that says HWIRT?
I guess. Let's ask the interns. They say sure.
The answer is going to be yes, because it's
Yeah.
the one thing I want.
Okay.
And you said something about compression socks. We'll see if that's true.
Crankle compression socks.
Oh my gosh. They sell themselves.
Crankle.
All right, so can you do it in less than 6 months? Do you think you can crank this up?
Peter, I don't want to overpromise. I don't want to verbal on a 6-monther. So let's just say it's coming.
6 months, that's pretty good. That means I'd have to live through the New York City Marathon, and you would have to live through Millinocket, and then we could see the fruition of the store. That'd be all right. That's a good goal.
I like it. Hey, this has been episode 33 of How Was Your Run Today? Shout out to Mike Walks. With Peter Villa and Brian Gould. Music by Jeff Cronenberg. Anna Brooks is our social media guru. Andrea Bonnie Gould is our artist in residence. Listeners, please contribute to the show with your questions and comments. For email and social media links, go to our website, howwasyourruntoday.com. Get this podcast every week on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher, or wherever you collect podcasts. I keep them in my 5 a.m. wake-up bag. But whenever you visit that special podcast place, please give us a rating and a comment. Every single one of those makes a difference in how this little here show is ranked. And if you love HWYRT, please share our posts on social media. It's free and it's easier than running stadiums or Summit Ave. Hey, Peter.
My ankle's still swelled.
You know what? Maybe you shouldn't run today, but run tomorrow.
No, I'm going to run today.
Have a good one.
Yep. We're jamming a 30-minute show in a 15-minute bag.